Hi everyone, this is Niki Rowland for Spiegel Mom Scraps, and I'm making a layout today using a cut file by Virginia Walker from her store Confessions of a Paper Addict, and 3 beautiful sequin mixes from Spiegel Mom Scraps. So I'm using the Shimelle Sparkle City Collection for this one, and I've chosen 3 sequin mixes that coordinate with that collection really beautifully. So I've chosen A Dose of Reality, Royal Highness and Ariel's Teal, and I'll list those below. So I started off by cutting the cut file, the word splash, from one of the Sparkle City papers, and then I cut it again on white cardstock, and I only cut the outline only, so I didn't get all the detail, just literally the outline of the whole shape. So I'm now able to stick my the blue outline onto the white, and the reason I've done that, even though I have a white background for my layout, the reason I've done that is so that I can place the word over any other elements that are on my paper, and they won't show through the letters, the gaps in the letters. So that is the first part of the cut file done. I've then also cut this splash shape. I think it was just from the Silhouette Design Store, and I'm also from a piece of Sparkle City paper, and I've stuck it onto another piece of Sparkle City paper, the purple colour, and that's going to be a border around the edge of the splash as well. I just wanted it to stand out some more, like have an outline, have a shadow effect effectively, and what I'm going to do is stitch around the outside of the splash shape just with a white thread. So I'm going to use 6 strands of embroidery thread to stitch around the whole of the outside of this splash, and then what I'll do is I'll cut out the splash again by hand, and I'll cut fairly close to the thread but not too close, so that basically I have a nice border incorporating the stitching as well, and this way it means that I have, there you go, it's now done. Magic, it's magically finished, rather than make you sit here and watch me stitch it the whole way I turn the video off. But basically I really love this technique. Rather than, I used to pierce my holes around the inside of, like, for example, this splash, and it would never be exactly even, whereas now I have a perfect line to follow. I go around the actual die cut itself, so that works really, really well. So you can see that my splash design, the actual splash shape, came with some extra splashes, some little bits coming off, so they're still on my cutting mat, so I'm just going to lay that over the template over the top and pop the splashes through. So I think I figured out at this point I didn't really need to use the template, they could just go into any of the gaps, so it looks a little bit more realistic here. I did think about mounting every splash onto the purple paper and hand stitching around them all and cutting them out, but I decided against it in the interest of time. I might have just been here forever, and also I was worried about space as well, because that would have made these splashes quite a bit bigger. So I'm just going to go around and stick my splashes on. Some of them I'm raising on foam pads, and some of them I'm sticking flat, so the really teeny tiny ones I'm sticking flat. You might notice that I have some that are different colours to the others, and that is because some of them are from the splash word, so the internal pieces of the blue from the splashes on the splash word, so I thought I'd use those as well. I don't want to waste them, so I thought I would use those as well, and also it gives a nice effect because I have 2 different colours of splashes going on there. Okay, so you can see where my photos are going to go. They're going to go on the splash itself, and I'm just going to get my photos and my title, specifically my title, in place, because it's such a large element. It needs to go on early in the process, so that I can embellish around it, because if I try and add it later, once I've done all my embellishments, there just won't be anywhere to put it. So that's what I'm doing there. Okay, so title down, background down, and now I can use my photos and get those stuck down and start embellishing. So at this point, so initially when I first pulled out some sequins to go with this collection, I pulled out Ariel's Teal and Royal Highness. So Ariel's Teal is a really beautiful set of sequins, deep teal, and other colours in there as well, of course, but lots of deep teal. And Royal Highness is a whole pack of silver, basically, so stars and glittery bits and all sorts. So those two went really well with this collection. And then I realised that there is a fairly new set called Dose of Reality, and I'm sure it must have been made to coordinate with Sparkle City because it goes so well. It has all the right colours in. It has the teals, the purples, the silvers, the navy. It's just gorgeous. It works so well with this collection. I just, for some reason, it just suddenly occurred to me that I was sure there was another set that went with this collection, and I dug deep into my stash of millions of sequins and found it. So hurrah, I'm so pleased I found it because it's so good, and it's actually the set that I end up using the most on this layout. Okay, so you can see I've just mounted my photos on two pieces of Sparkle City paper, a different one that I've used already on this layout. Just to give my photos a bit of white behind them. Obviously they're going onto the blue splash, so the white paper with some other colours in it, it had some stripes on, worked really well, kind of gave it another extra border, extra piece of separation. And now I'm just going in with some Sparkle City embellishments to see what I can use. Now this layout doesn't need many paper layers because I've already got a whole ton of stuff going on, and I really can't fit too much more on. So literally it's papers behind my photos to mount them, and then that's it. I have to really get on with the embellishments. Okay, so I'm using the Shimelle puffy stickers. I had a few of those. I've got large chipboard pieces of ephemera, and I also have got the ephemera pack itself. So I've gone through that and pulled out the bits and pieces that would work. I was initially trying to stick to blue tones, but then I realised why would I limit myself in such a way, and I thought I'd bring in some pink, and then the yellow in that collection as well goes really well in this colour scheme, so I thought I would go with that. So there you go, I've put in a few extra layers behind my left hand photo, and I've put a small piece of pink poking out of the top of my right hand photo, and that's just because it needed a little bit of something, an extra pop of colour, as the left hand side had some pink. And I had that pink arrow down the bottom, so I wanted to bring in a piece of pink onto that photo as well. So you can see I'm just building up my embellishments here, poking in what I can. My clusters aren't going to be huge because, as I say, there's so much going on with this layout already, so I just need to be careful about what I try to fit in. I don't want it to look over crazy, so that's it, just getting in a few bits and pieces. I'm adding in some silver thread. I do love my thread, and that's going on that tag that I just tucked behind the right photo, and I'm also going to put some behind both clusters as well, just so that I have a bit of symmetry, so one side balances out the other effectively. Those two yellow pieces that I just stuck down are chipboard off of the big chipboard sheet, and I wanted to make sure they stayed in place, so I've added some extra glossy accents behind that. Okay, so I've just come in there with my Dose of Reality sequins. They really are super duper beautiful. So I've just literally grabbed a load out of the bag and started to sprinkle. Now, even though I love a natural scatter, I needed to make sure that they weren't all on my splashes. I thought I'd move them out of the way a bit for my splashes, so that's what I've done. And I'm now just basically going in with my glossy accents and paper piercing tool, and getting them all stuck down. So I'm sticking to the natural scatter as much as I possibly can, but obviously I have moved them off of the splashes. There was one on my photo there, so I grabbed that off of there and stuck that on the background too. Literally just getting all of those stuck in place. So I've only used Dose of Reality so far because the colours are just so perfect. I thought I would stick with mostly those. So there you go, that's that set done. There was a couple of loose sequins that I omitted to stick, so I just stuck those on. Now coming in with Royal Highness. Now this is a really beautiful set too. It's got so much silver shimmer in there, lots of sparkly stars and glittery sequins, as well as other silver sequins as well. So it's a really gorgeous set. I love all the teeny tiny silver stars. They're so tiny. They're a bit of a pain to stick down, but they're well worth it. They're so cute. I love them. So I'm just going around sticking all of those in for that added bit of sparkle. And now coming in with Ariel's tail, which is that deep teal colour. Oh, I've just found a large silver sequin that I haven't stuck down, so just sorting that out. Yes, I'm just adding a few of those dark teal because I've already got quite a lot of sequins on this layout now, so I wanted to not go crazy, so I've just put a few in select places to make sure that it doesn't overpower the layout, because obviously I've got lots of different sequins going on already. So yeah, just trying to get those ones in place. I remembered partway through that I had some leftover little teeny tiny acrylic ducks by Bramble Fox. They are so cute. I had a whole bunch of them and I've used them on a different layout, but there were so many in the pack I didn't use them all, and I just had these 3 left. And as I've used yellow on this layout, it's about being in the bath, these little yellow ducks were super cute and so perfect to add to this layout. So I've added those. So my sequins, I really wanted them to look kind of like bubbles coming off of the big splash, and I think I've achieved it. I think it looks really nice. I'm really happy with the way that the background looks. The splash cut file was looking a little bit stark white. I wanted to colour it slightly. Now, I didn't want it to be dark in colour. I wanted it to be quite light, but I wanted it to be blue. So I've just gone in with 2 colours of Shimmerz there. I've watered them down so they're not too dark. The darker one that I'm applying to the letters is called Teal, the End of Time, and it's a nice deep teal colour, but say I've watered it down quite a bit. And it's really just a very pale colour wash that's going on to the white letters there. And then in the actual splashes themselves, off of the word splash, I've used another one which is called Peacock's Plume, and again it's a Shimmerz paint, so it's an already mixed watercolour paint, ready to paint from out of the pot, but I've grabbed a bit onto my mat and watered it down. And that's me done. I'm going to call it done at that point there, so I just needed that paint to finish it off. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed my layout today. That was Niki Rowland for Spiegel Mom Scraps. And don't forget that if you place an order via the Spiegel Mom Scraps store, enter code Niki15 for a discount. Happy scrapping!